What's up, guys? That Really Gross Guy here, and we are back, and we are inside of Fortnite, and today I wanted to really focus on something very important for defense, and that is going to be the best way to build your external walls on your base with high hit points and try to mitigate as little space as possible. So I'm going to show you the best way to build a wall structure in one by one tile. So obviously your wall is going to be long and drawn out, but in each tile I'm going to give you the maximum amount of hit points you can add to a structure per tile. So without further ado, we will get into it and we will take a look, and it is going to be right over here to the side. Now you're seeing it and you're like, wait, I'm don't quite understand exactly what's going on here. Because, like I said, it's going to be one by one tile. It's going to be one tile, so you're going to have, it's going to be, all of it is going to fit on, let's see, on this tile right here. In those four little spaces, in that one full tile is going to be our wall. So, anyways, with that said, we are going to take a look. So right here, and we're gonna take a look at a level 1, no upgrades, wooden wall. Very basic, very just as small as you can pretty much get. So we have this outside wall, which is going to be one full wall. We'll talk about some alterations that you can make depending on your the way you want to build. But the external wall, maximum hit points is going to be 350 for a level 1 wooden wall. And then when we get to the inside, that's where the magic happens. So right in here we have a floor panel, which is cut in half. So if you were to, let's see, if you were to take a floor panel and you are to cut this in half, you get this half wall. This is very important that you have this half wall because of this railing here on the side, which is going to be required for enemies to actually break through it. So like I was saying, is we have this external wall, we have this internal wall with this little railing, and then we have this sloped roof. It can either be a roof or it can be a ramp. It doesn't really matter because they have the same hit points. But this being wooden, this is let's see, the floor, 270 base health, level 1 wooden wall, and 335 base health in a wooden ramp. This is the basic format, which allows you to, number one, be able to run up here and be able to take on enemies in this area. There is a way to make this a little bit better, and that is, by choice, you can add on an external wall such as this one. So this wall right here is going to add another 230 health. This is going to be very simple because every single character every hero in the game can jump over this wall. Now, I believe the constructors, the builders, can't jump too high. So, for example, I believe they physically can't jump over this too high, and it's actually pretty difficult for, or like pretty much anyone except for the ninja. But if you get a running start, you can jump over it, barely, but you can jump over it with every character except, like I said, the constructor. You might be able to, but I've tried a few times. I wasn't able to do it. I think they just don't have as much stamina, or don't have as much, jump height. So what I'm going to show you, actually, and the hit points I am going to talk about are going to be this design right here. Is this external wall, fully designed without a window or anything in that, or door, this internal partial wall, this outside ramp, and this little wall, the small wall, so that you can jump over it very easily. I'm going to give you the hit points on stuff like this, but you can see just from looking at it, we have 350, 270s, which is going to be 620 total, and then 955, and then if you were to put on this wall, you're going to get 1185 as just without any upgrades whatsoever. A wooden structure just set up exactly like this, but level 3, if you were to upgrade it all the way to maximum, is going to give you 4,140 health. in one tile, in one direct tile. Enemies literally will have to break through. You'll see, even on a level 1, even on a level 1 wall. There you go. Okay, well, I was fortunate enough to make it all the way through. Okay, well, oh, now we got through that one. Oh, now we have to we're gonna have to get through this one. In order to get to the base, we're gonna have to get through this one. Oh, no, we're gonna have to get through this one now. And that's level 1. It's a level 1 wall. In that structure, which I will actually show you over here, I have everything set up, so we're going to talk about it and we're going to take a look at them here in a moment. But right here is a wooden wall set up exactly like that. This structure, like I said right here, designed, set up the way it is 4,140 health. If you choose, for whatever reason, that you do not want this wall back here, because let's say you're going to build some sort of structure here, and you don't want this, or some, I don't know, for whatever reason you don't want this wall here, you're going to have 3,345 health with just these three pieces that you see down there. If you want, like I said, there's going to be alterations that you can make. You can do something like that so that you can still walk up it and still have that option, so there's no jumping involved. You can even go to that length, but you're going to forcibly add a door. Now, it will increase your hit points. So if you really wanted to, you could put a jump pad back here and have any hero be able to jump over that. But, you know, like I said, if you're going to create a jump pad, it's best to at least do this height, or maybe even a full wall. But I honestly, just for ease of access, making it easy for every hero to jump over this, I like setting it up like this, because now you're able to engage enemies as you see fit. Obviously with guns. So you jump over this, this would be your main defense focal point, attacking all the enemies, being able to shoot down at them. It's good to have something out so you can shoot at enemies in front of the walls, and obviously traps galore if you want, for that option as well. But the idea is, actually let's talk about these real quick. So we have the metal and the concrete. So concrete, because it is just stronger than the wood, if you set it up level 3 everything exactly the way the wooden one was set up, you're going to have 5,820 health. That's a lot of health. If you wanted to remove this back wall, just like I was saying, you're gonna get 4,840. That's still a lot. It's like almost 5,000 health for you to get through. And as you can see, little alterations. We'll talk about those in just a minute. But the stone, almost 5,000 health. Now, if we're getting over to the metal, as you see, with the wall, the ramp, the outside wall, and then that inside floor, is going to be 7,510. 7,510. Holy crap. That's a lot. That's a lot. Without this back wall, like I was saying, if you choose to go that route, it's going to be 6,345. If you want to just keep doing that basic running thing. And obviously, the hit points are going to go up if you decide to use that wall. Let's see. This wall goes up by about 400, so instead of it being 5,800, it would be like 6,200. Instead of this one being, let's see, it goes from 18 down to, okay, so this one adds about 650. So this one would be a little over 8,000 if that was a 2-high wall. And then this wooden structure, instead of, let's see, it's about 800, it only goes up about 200. So instead of this one being 3,300, it would be about, it's 3,345, so if it added a little over 300, it would be, or a little over 200, it would be about 3,600 total, with it set up like that. Very interesting. Now, one thing is, I highly suggest, if you're going to build your walls like this, you're going to want to run this all the way up to a solid object, such as the stone that enemies physically can't break through, because then the enemies don't have a weak point to attack. They won't be able to choose the weakest wall and break through that. Enemies will always seek out the weakest points in your defenses, unless I think they're trying to attack a hero, I believe. But they'll always try to seek out the weakest point, so try to funnel them into these rooms, into these hallways, let's say, these tunnels, and load these up with traps. Lots of traps. Floor traps, wall traps, and ceiling traps. If you choose to make this middle section able for you to walk through, which I actually think is a cool idea, because, for instance, if you decide to make these window walls, you can shoot through it and take on enemies. And it's nice to have, you know, this little back section. You can either make your access point a partial staircase, so that you create a little slit for your guys to walk into and start the defense. Like I was saying, I suggest this route, but if for whatever reason you insist you want to do it this way, or just the terrain doesn't allow you to be up here, such as if there's a tunnel and it's only a one singular, which there's actually one over there, but if there's one single hallway that enemies can walk through and you only have the option to build one wall, this is the way to go, is to create this with a window. But if you do have that too high space, you can attack down from here. Now, the small downside of these walls are traps. How much you can load them up with traps. You can always put a floor tile down here and put a trap on it. And you can always put a trap right here on the outside of the wall. But if you're insisting that you're going to shoot down on enemies, you won't have a ceiling trap. Which is okay, because you're basically the damage dealer when you're standing up there. But you can have one trap here. The cool thing, which is subject to change because this is in pre-release, they might change this, but you can also add a trap to the inside of these walls, which doesn't really make sense because the enemies are going to break this wall, which is going to break the trap. But you can attach them to these walls as long as they don't have doors, which is why I was giving you the option of having a slit like this one to enter, because you can attach traps on the inside of the walls. So you could have a trap here and you could have a trap here if this was just one section. And what I mean by that is if you were to put a wall here and make it so that you can't access this lower section, actually that's not 100% true, but if you put a wall here, you can put two traps inside, which covers both tiles, which works. If you insisted on putting a wall here, you could cut a slit in one of these, in one of these, so that you can still have that outside wall. You can still put traps on both of these. The only downside is you're going to make it so that enemies won't attack this ramp. They'll attack this wall, they'll then attack this this floor, and then they'll ignore the ramp and they'll go through here. So that's the one downside, is you're missing out on over 1,000 health on your wall if you decide to remove this ramp. It's like I was saying, it's kind of up to you the way you want to do it. I suggest making it, well, you could argue both ways. If you insist on coming down here, you're gonna want windows. If you don't care about coming down here, load them up with traps before you place down your ramp and your outside wall, and then you're gonna have, like I said, you can put a floor trap. Actually, you can't put a floor trap in here because this tile won't let you. But you'll have a wall trap, you'll have another wall trap on this side, and then the outside you'll have a floor trap and a wall trap. And then, like I said, they're gonna have anywhere from 4,000 with that current setup, just like this, have anywhere between 4,000 to 7,000 plus hit points for them to go through. The idea behind this wall is no enemies, other than if they're aggroed to maybe a hero or something, is going to choose to attack this wall. They're all going to choose to find these tunnels, the weak points in the walls, and take those, which is going to be loaded with traps, which is going to be to your benefit. Obviously, if this wall is like 3, 4, 5, 6 long or whatever, the enemies aren't going to walk 3 or 4 tiles out of their way to enter these tunnels. They're going to choose to attack the weakest wall that's in front of them. So you're going to want these tunnels every couple tiles. So I would suggest, to maximize how many traps you can put down, is to build a tunnel, put a trap inside on this wall, put a trap out here, put your best wall here, your best wall here, and then another tunnel, because then you can put another trap on the inside of this wall.
Okay.
Like I was saying, you can put a trap again in here. So, but with these tunnels here, it's very unlikely the enemies are going to choose to fight through these. These are a deterrent, if anything. If you can't run these walls up to a solid object and you need to cut corners, the best, or make a corner in your base. Let's say you're just trying to defend this point, and you run your walls from that wall all the way down, but you want to start coming this direction for some reason, or even if you get all the way to here and you choose that you're going to turn this wall and send it that way, you can do so. You're going to miss out on some hit points or some defense, but you're going to build something along these lines, which is awesome. I just figured this out. I was like, how the heck can I build a corner and have it not be absolutely garbage? And I figured this one out. Now, hit points are going to be a little bit subject to like the enemy's attack pattern, and what I mean by that is, if the enemy breaks down this wall, they're not going to break this floor because they're just going to go around. However, if this wall does continue way down that way and way down that way, eventually they're going to have to work their way in. So they will eventually have to fight a floor tile if this wall is absolutely complete. So the way to do it is a roof tile, which I will show you how to build this in just a second, a floor tile, which I will show you as well, and these outside full walls. Like I said, you could put windows in these. You could even if you absolutely insisted, you could do that single window. You could do the double window like that, which I'm not too big of a fan of those. Or you could honestly do that, but you're losing a lot of hit points if you do this. So I don't suggest it. If anything, do that. But with this design right here, it's going to be very, very similar to all your other walls. This is going to have the 350 hit points. This is the wood one. So this is going to have a lot of hit points. This is going to have a little bit more than the 2-tile one. But like I said, they're not going to attack this tile. They're gonna go around it. And then if for whatever reason they do break through this tile, they have to also fight this roof. They have to destroy this roof, which is 335 points. So just for showing you how to make these tiles, obviously there's your outside wall. Your inside wall is going to be just 3. You're just going to make 3 of them for the outside corner. And then for your roof tile, you're going to start out with this. You're going to enter the editor. You're going to increase one corner, which is going to make it angled like, let's just show you. We're going to make it angled like that. You raise this one, and that is the same exact as a ramp. It has the same hit points as a ramp. It just is designed to look like a roof. And then you're going to put that 3rd tile, which is going to create that angle. So that's the angle. That's the angle. So that's the exact same one as that one. But if you had to do the opposite corner, you would do that angle. So, and like I was saying, is you'll build that, and then you'll put your outside wall. You know, we'll show you the full thing. Outside wall, and then inside will be your wall like this. Like I was saying, the key portion of the floor tile is this fence, so this doesn't do you any good. The enemies are just going to walk over it. You need to have a railing up, so that's that. Obviously, this is going to be stronger if it is concrete or if it is metal, but that is basically the gist of how to build the most defensive walls. Like I said, anywhere from what is it? With in that current setup, the current setup right there, you're gonna go from 4,140 all the way up to 7,510, depending on what material you make it out of, which is insane. And then a little bit bonus if you make these too high, these little walls. But that is that. I am going ham on my bases. I'm creating some really extravagant bases. I've done one which will go up probably the day this comes out. I'm going to do my Stonewood base, and I'm currently working on this one, which is the Plankerton base. But I'm going all out on these builds. I've got bridges. I've got all sorts of awesome designs. I'm gonna have traps everywhere. I highly suggest going and checking out the Stonewood video. It's pretty lengthy, but there is so much to cover. There are so many cool defense points. There are launch pads. I have directional launch pads, which launch me to specific choke points on the map and up to different towers so that we get really good lines of sight and stuff like that. But you can see that this is slowly coming along. I did this all in about 2 days. I would go out and grind for like 1,000 resources, and then I'd come in and build as much as I can. Actually, probably 3 days, because I spent about a day of grinding on this, a day of grinding on the wood, and then a day of grinding on the metal. And we've got these so far quite a lot of progress made. These walls are here just because my first defense, these had to be there in order to defend it. And then I decided to experiment with how to design the best possible walls, and this is what I've come up with. If you know any ways to improve, or if there's any ideas that you have, obviously building out of metal is the best way to go. Using traps, using these tunnels are the best way to go. But if there's any ideas you have of maybe, you know, some ideas of how to implement these walls, I'm open to your opinions. I'm open to see what you guys, what you guys think. I know that there is technically better ways to build external walls, but the only way to do so is by having them be larger than one tile. You could build one that's too long, and then you can put a ceiling trap in. You can put four wall traps in, and you can put four if you have walls on every single slot. And then you can put a floor trap in there. So I understand that the more space you allow for traps, the better the walls are going to be. But if you're cramped for space, or you just want, like I said, a deterrent, if you just want enemies to go, oh hell no, I'm not breaking through that, I'm going to go through here. That's the idea behind these walls. I'm curious to see what you think. I really want to stress test these walls a little bit, but I have to get further into the game to fight really, really strong enemies in order to kind of figure that out. As you can see, I'm in Plankerton building, so my enemies are anywhere from 19 up, I think. So currently, this is the best we've got at the moment. Like I was saying, it is possible that I don't think this is overpowered. I think this is perfect, is to be able to build these 4 structures in one area. I would understand if they made it so that you couldn't put a trap on this wall, or, oh yeah, I forgot to say also, the benefit of having this wall back here is you can put a trap on this wall. So when they break through the 3 first tiles, they're going to have a trap to deal with. They may even be zapped. Even though this ramp is in place and that floor is in place, I still have to test that out. but it is possible that enemies will take trap damage because of this back wall. So I highly suggest this back wall if you can. But like I said, the idea behind this is to force enemies to go into your tunnels, and so that you can still have a defense point and attack all the enemies that get in your way. These tunnels allow for really good ways of traveling, you know, from point to point, or however you're going to build your base. You could even extend this all the way out so that you could get all the way to your pyramid building when you build it, or wherever else. So keep that in mind. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you have any thoughts and opinions. If you have any requests, is there something else you want me to work on? I want to do some really cool abstract type stuff. Like I would love to build like a suspended structure, or a structure that, like, let's say I have a support coming off of this wall, and I would have like a suspended house up in the air where there's no bottom supports, so the enemies can't break it and then destroy the structure. All the supports are off to the nearest wall, and that way, you know, like I said, there's no supports underneath it, and allows for, I don't know, something cool, and maybe not necessarily incredibly defensive, but something unique. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. Like I said, let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any improvements or something I should work on, and I will be happy to try and do that for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to put some of the stats down in the description, so if you want to see exact numbers, you can. But that's that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time. Blow!